Bandler and Grinder were advised by Gregory Bateson to go and visit Milton Erickson, all the way in Phoenix. Now, Bandler and Grinder at that time lived in California. And Phoenix is in another state.
That's Arizona.
Indeed it is. Well done. I do know. You have one state.
California.
Very good. And then another state. Very good. And there's a time when you go across states into a different state. On the interstate. And you can imagine Bandler and Grinder in one of them big old American sedans. You know them big cars? They could be, yeah, a lot of different things. Or if they had flew down, they could have flew by TWA, Trans World Airlines. Trans World. So you can imagine them going down in their big old sedan, Cadillac, station wagon, whatever it was. And one of them would have been the navigator. And the other, the driver. And as the navigator navigated, the driver would drive. And sometimes the driver would drive and change lane without indicating a change is about to happen. And another time, the driver would wait for the navigator to say change now. And sometimes in that big sedan, it'll be silent between two people. Because you know when you're very comfortable with another human being, you can just enjoy the silence. And every now and again, one of them would fancy a sweet. And unwrap it quietly. As that big old sedan cruised down the interstate, across the state, to Phoenix, Arizona. The hot desert plain. And when they arrived, they booked into their motel. And Gregory Bateson had suggested to Bandler and Grinder that it wasn't required for them to need an appointment. Just to call Erickson, that Bateson would call him in advance to let Erickson know his friends would be visiting. Now, I don't know if you know this. The phones in America are much more hypnotic than the phones in UK. And the phones in UK are much less hypnotic than the phones in the rest of Europe. Because the phones in the UK are very uptight. They're uptight phones. So if you ever phone the UK, the phones are in a hurry. Ring, 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 ring. If you ever rang the UK, go ring, ring. On the other hand, the phones in the USA are very hypnotic. They go ring, ring. It's a nice, long, and it's a slightly lower tone to the ring. Ring. And the phones in the rest of Europe are midway. They kind of ring, ring. English ones, ring, 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 uptight. Ring, ring. And Ericsson's phone was known for being really hypnotic because it had a low, gravelly ring. And Ericsson's phone would go ring. In the evenings, it was like this. Click. And they heard the voice of a world-renowned hypnotist speaking down the phone. A very clear, resonant voice of Betty Erickson, who now Betty was a lot younger than Milton, and Milton at that time, he had done a lot of lectures in his late 70s, and she said it was preposterous that Gregory Bateson had suggested that Grinder and Bandler should visit without an appointment. And therefore, it's time for them to leave now and go through the proper channels if they wanted to visit Ericsson for tea. Bang. Now, do you think Grinder, the one in the middle, and Bandler the change in faces would give up just like that? So they had this idea. They thought they would ring Ericsson in the evening and attempt to hypnotize him. You see, Ericsson and Betty had a very traditional house, and they figured, in that sense, they wanted to wait till Betty could be very busy with 9 kids, or 7 kids. And Ericsson was doing his papers. And they rang again. Ring. And in the evening, the phone was really hypnotic. Really hypnotic. Click. Click. Hello. And they heard the voice of the distinguished Milton Erickson, who said, "Good evening. How are you?" And they said who they were. And Erickson listened. As Grinder said, "I know you are curious about learning more about your work. And that is a very good thing, that you are curious. Because the more curious you are, the more you will learn about what you do, which means we can only share more of your great works as you move forward, learning all of the time about every experience that you have. Some people say visiting you is a must. Others say we should go. Others say it's necessary. We say we can, Doctor, work together. Bring together changes, choices, opportunities, and creations for new people. As you move forward, helping people with how they change. Bringing their changes and differences into every walk of life. Can you hear me clearly? You can hear me clearly, can't you? And isn't it brilliant, Doctor, that as you listen there now, hearing my voice, experiencing your breathing up and down and back on the chair, feet on the floor, breathing in and out, listening intently, because it's a good thing to listen to me. As you wonder, when is it best for us to meet? This evening or tomorrow morning, first thing? Because Gregory Bateson's father was saying to Gregory, and Gregory said to us, that trance is a state of organic experience where you experience multiple experiences sitting there now. You and that phone, Doctor, listening intently, that phone responding positively to our request. As you sit there now wondering, we will meet tomorrow morning or this evening, right now. Because they say, experiencing people are interesting. Interesting people are experiencing. Right now, as you hear in what I say, knowing that you can just watch the time as you experience your hands and feet relaxing, knowing it's a good thing that we meet. And Erickson said, you better get over here straight away. And there was a pause. There was a pause.